Imagine the funniest woman in television history, the one who made millions laugh every week for over a decade, carrying a deep pain in her heart that no amount of time has healed. Carol Burnett, beloved by everyone, could forgive almost anyone who crossed her, but there was one person she just couldn't. Who was he, and what did he do that broke her trust forever? Stick around, because this story might surprise you. Everyone knows Carol Burnett as the queen of comedy, the lady with the big smile and that famous ear tug who lit up our screens on her variety show. She grew up tough, in a poor family with parents who struggled with alcohol, but she always found ways to laugh through it. Raised mostly by her grandma in a tiny Hollywood apartment, Carol dreamed big from the start. She hustled her way to New York, landed roles on Broadway, and before long, she was a star. In 1967, she launched The Carol Burnett Show, and it became a massive hit. With Harvey Korman cracking up the audience, Vicki Lawrence playing sassy characters, and Tim Conway making everyone lose it on set, the show ran for 11 years and won tons of awards. Carol was on top of the world, making people laugh every week while raising her family. But behind all that joy, Carol's personal life wasn't always easy. She married young the first time, to Don Saroyan, but it didn't last. Then in 1963, she tied the knot with Joe Hamilton, the talented producer who helped make her show a success. Joe already had kids from a previous marriage, and together they had 3 daughters, Carrie, Jody, and Erin. Life seemed perfect, fame, family, laughter everywhere. Carol poured everything into her career and her girls. She brought them to the set often, and they grew up watching their mom shine. Carrie, the oldest, was creative and talented, writing and acting just like her mom. Jody was more quiet, finding her own path. And Erin, the youngest, had a spark for music. Carol loved being a mom more than anything, even the spotlight. As the years went on, though, cracks started showing in her marriage to Joe. He was busy producing, traveling a lot, and the pressure of Hollywood took its toll. Carol admitted later that she held in a lot of her feelings, not wanting to rock the boat. She thought keeping quiet would keep things smooth, but it built up inside. By the early 1980s, things got really hard. The girls were teens, and the family felt the strain. Carol and Joe tried a separation, hoping it would help, but it didn't. In 1984, they divorced after 21 years. It was tough on everyone, especially the kids. Carol threw herself into work to cope, but the pain lingered. Then tragedy struck in 2002 when Carrie, only 38, passed away from cancer after battling addiction earlier in life. Carol was devastated, but she stayed strong for Jody and Erin. She spoke openly about how addiction ran in the family, from her parents to some of her kids, and how hard it was to watch loved ones struggle. Erin, in particular, faced big challenges with substance issues over the years. Carol did everything she could to support her, getting help and being there through the ups and downs. But it wasn't easy. There were relapses, heartbreaks, and tough choices to protect the family. In recent years, things got even more complicated. Erin had a son named Dylan, and when concerns arose about her stability, Carol and her husband Brian stepped in to get temporary guardianship of him in 2020. They wanted to keep him safe while Erin worked on recovery. Dylan turned 18 a few years ago, and restrictions lifted, but reports say the relationship between Carol and Erin stayed strained. Sources close to the family have said Carol loves Erin deeply, but the repeated hurts have made it hard to fully trust again. After losing Carrie and seeing so much pain, Carol worries about getting let down one more time. It's like her heart has a limit on how much it can take. Carol has always been known for her kindness and forgiveness. She patched things up with co-stars after arguments, laughed off rude guests, and moved past old feuds in Hollywood. But when it comes to family, especially after all she's been through, some wounds heal slower. People wonder if it's her ex-husband Joe she's never fully forgiven, since the divorce changed everything and affected the kids so much. Joe passed away in 1991, but the impact of those years stayed with Carol. Or maybe it's someone else from her past who caused lasting damage. Carol Burnett has spent her life forgiving people left and right. She moved past tough arguments on set, like when she briefly let Harvey Korman go for being sharp with a guest, but welcomed him back because their chemistry was magic and the laughs were worth it. She shrugged off tricky guest stars who showed up in bad moods and let go of old Hollywood rivalries without a second thought. In her memoirs and chats with reporters, Carol often shares how humor pulled her through the rough childhood with parents battling alcohol. She decided early on to lean into laughter instead of anger, and that choice let her forgive folks who hurt her in the industry. Keeping her heart open kept her happy and creative. But family pain hits closer to home. After splitting from Joe Hamilton in 1984, Carol found real happiness marrying Brian Miller in 2001. They've shared a calm, supportive life for over 2 decades, with Brian standing by her through the hardest moments, including the ongoing family worries. The toughest part has been addiction touching her daughters. Carrie, the eldest, started struggling with drugs in her teens, and it broke Carol's heart. She pushed hard for help, enrolling Carrie in rehab several times, even when it strained their bond. Love pulled them through. Carrie got sober at 17, and they became incredibly close, even teaming up on creative projects until Carrie's heartbreaking death from cancer in 2002 at age 38. That loss crushed Carol, but she turned it into advocacy, supporting groups like Al-Anon and speaking openly about how addiction is a disease you can't control for someone else. You love them, set boundaries, and care for yourself. Carol forgave the illness for taking so much from her family. Erin's struggles have stretched over many years, echoing some of Carrie's challenges. As an adult, Erin faced serious substance issues, leading to multiple rehabs and hospitalizations. It impacted her life deeply, including raising her son Dylan. In 2020, when Dylan was a teenager, Carol and Brian sought guardianship to give him a stable home while Erin focused on recovery. The goal was always protection for Dylan, not punishment. Carol and Brian provided love and routine, helping him thrive. But concerns lingered, with supervised visits and rules in place. Erin worked on sobriety, sharing periods of progress and a commitment to AA. By 2024, Dylan graduated high school and headed to film school in New York, doing well on his own path. He turned 18, ending the guardianship naturally. Erin expressed pride in him and excitement about rebuilding their relationship without court oversight. Yet between Carol and Erin, distance remains. Sources say Carol loves her daughter immensely, she's family forever, but the years of heartbreak have left scars. After losing Carrie and navigating so much worry, Carol guards her peace at 92, cautious about more emotional ups and downs. It's not about holding a grudge. Carol understands addiction deeply and never speaks with blame. But trusting fully again feels tough. Tabloids sometimes exaggerate, suggesting permanent rifts or hatred, but it's more about self-protection after repeated pain. The title's him often leads people to Joe Hamilton, whose divorce affected the family dynamics and perhaps contributed to stresses that fed into addiction cycles. Joe died in 1991, and Carol has always spoken respectfully of him, crediting his role in her career and their 3 wonderful daughters. Any unresolved feelings there are subtle, tied to lasting family effects rather than direct unforgiveness. Some guess at old show dramas or guest stars, but Carol laughs those away easily. She reunited warmly with castmates and moved on from minor feuds. No, the real challenge is the personal toll of addiction across generations.